Yeah, we are live, I think. Yeah, we are live. So, good evening, everybody, and a very happy New Year to all. My name is Ankita Roy, and I welcome you to the discussion series on working women in history, curated under TMYS Review June 2025, which is the first of the four projects themed on four distinct lenses to observe and understand the personal and social spheres of working women. We are calling for submission for essays, poems, and short stories under the project. To know more about the submission guidelines and project architecture, please visit www.tellmeyourstory.biz. The topic for today is Senatorial, Female Leaders in Administrative Roles. I consider myself very privileged to be in the company of our esteemed panelists, Professor Sunaina Singh, Dr. Mittali Sethi, who is yet to come and join us, and Rianka Sarkar ma'am, who will shortly share their insights with us. Our first speaker for the session is Professor Sunaina Singh. Professor Singh is a distinguished academic leader, widely acclaimed as an institutional builder for her transformative leadership as change maker with integrity in higher education governance in South Asian region. She is widely credited for rebuilding Nalanda International University as its vice chancellor in the recent past. The major institutions that she has had the privilege to shape and continues to contribute as a vice chancellor: Nalanda International University, Bihar, Ministry of External Affairs, GOI, 2017 to 2023, Governing Council member, Sahitya Academy, India's National Academy of Letters, 2023, and he is working now. Honorary Professor, Oxford Academic Union, Oxford, UK, 2020, Advisor Research and Innovation Committee, Association of Universities of Asia and Pacific 2021, Executive Board member as visitors, President of India, nominee served on more than 10 central national universities, currently on Tamil Nadu Central University and Nagaland Central University, and many other prestigious positions. Professor Singh is a widely acclaimed as a strategic thought leader and an institutional builder for her transformative leadership in university higher education governance system. We are delighted to have you on the panel, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Our next panelist for this session is Rianka Sarkar, ma'am. Rianka Sarkar is a Bangalore-based children's writer and environmentalist. She is an assistant professor of English at Mount Carmel Autonomous College. She has authored her debut book, Reconstructing the Border History, Rethinking Space, and has been published in various anthologies and journals for her poetry, short stories, and articles. She is an active member of the International Journal for Creative Research Thought. She is a gold medalist from Guru Nanak Dev University and has published papers on the partition history and narrative, folktales, and cultural studies. We are delighted to have you on the panel, Rianka Sarkar, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Uh, so actually, our we have another panelist over here, but she hasn't joined yet. So I think we should start and let her join. Then we will introduce her. Okay. Okay. So uh, we will now open the forum for the discussion. I would request Professor Sunaina Singh, ma'am, to share his thoughts and insights uh, about this topic. Ma'am, over to you now.
Uh, Hello and a very happy new year to my fellow panelists. Thank you for having me. Uh, Telling your story, I think that's the
Tell
crux
me.
of it all. Yeah. So I look at institutions that I've been trying to transform into world institutions or institutions of eminence. If you look at India and the education scenario, by 2024, we have nearly 60,000 institutions in India, of which about 1,200 are universities and about 58,000 are colleges. So we have a very disparate and diverse education system. Now, when we lead educational institutions, what we need is a vision and also the ability to be courageous, to be bold, to take decisions, and to have a vision. Without a vision, you cannot take any institution forward. And every institution is different. It comes with its own USP. So, particularly as a woman, when you head an institution, it's very important that you're familiar with the background of the institution, the history of the institution. What exactly does it stand for? What is it? What is the motto of the university? What is the focus and the aim? Now, depending on that, we need to evolve a trajectory for the university, and not just for 5 years that we sit in the chair. We need to have a vision that encompasses the global growth metrics. It's very important that we look at education from a different angle, because we need to remodel higher education system, because the youngsters, particularly since this story is all about women, and how do we shape the gen alpha, the incoming generations. How do we motivate them? How do we inspire them? Are there any role models for them? It's very important to have role models, very important to have mentors. And therefore, women leadership, it's very, very significant and important that we stand tall with our vision. And I always say that when you enter an institution, uh, one must be fearless. Maya Angelou had, a poet and a writer, she had said that courage is the greatest of all the virtues, because it encompasses all the other virtues. That other virtues cannot exist without courage. So it's very important to be courageous, and courage should come from the other virtues that you have, the vision that you have to rebuild an institution, to take it forward. And how do you shape the younger generation? It's the teachers who do that. It's very important that our teachers are very well versed with knowledge. They keep on updating their knowledge, because they are impacting the psyche, the intelligent quotient of the youngsters, the knowledge quotient. It's very important that we look at diverse aspects of higher education, and how do we shape and reshape things. Because when we look at education system, I feel universities must be heavens of hope and security in society. They should be heavens of hope, security, progress, growth. How do you define your own identity? I think it's very, very important, and not to be trapped in your own singular identity, because women are adept and very good at wearing different hats at different times, and they do learn to, they know how to balance things, but do not get subjugated with one identity. I think that is the foremost aspect. Since the discussion is focused on women, I'm trying to take it towards that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we come back, or do you
So,
want me to speak more on this, or I thought this is a
oh, we'll
discussion.
come back to
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, we are just is the time that we are going to just share our thoughts. Then we will go to the panel, like question answer session. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful insights and observations. Now I'd like to ask Rianka Sarkar, ma'am, to share her insights regarding this topic. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, Ankita, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, I have a PPT to share.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Are you able to share it? Or no?
yeah, just a minute.
Okay.
Um, are you able to see the screen? Ankita, are you able to see the PPT?
No, ma'am, not yet. Mm.
Okay.
I think she must have. We just wait for her.
Yeah, while we wait for her, I think it's we can carry on. I was looking at how do women
Ma'am,
rise. Are we ready?
Sunaina
ma'am,
ma'am, I think you can continue. It was really wonderful listening to you, and in fact, I think something you mentioned is really nice. Is how women wear different hats. So I would love to listen to you, and then I can begin.
Okay.
okay, ma'am.
So
I'm ready.
in a fast changing, complex, transitional world, that
Yes,
we face on a day to day basis. How do we define ourselves? I think that's very important. Uh, be it for educationists, be it for young girls, or be it for women, because I think it's very important to you know ride through complexities and through uncertainties without losing your confidence. It's very important that we do not react to the complexities, but we have some response to it. How do we
yes,
respond to changing times? How do we respond to uncertainties that defines us? Because being positive is very, very important. The world may not be on your side, you know and
yes,
I generally say that fear, one should be fearless in our
yes,
journey in life, and strive not to be popular. It's very important. If you want to be a leader, if you want to lead and motivate others, it's very important for me personally that we should give up trying to be popular or trying to please everyone. It's not going to
yes,
happen. you know
yes,
it's very important to
yes,
choose your principles, and that's where Viktor Frankl, he is a World War survivor, second World War. He is a psychologist and a very well known writer. He said, between the stimulus and response there is a space. It is
yes,
that space, it is in that space that we choose what to do, how to react, how to be responsive. And it is that response that we choose, the action that we choose, will take us towards progress and growth. It defines
yes,
us. So in life,
yes,
we face many challenges as leaders, as educators, or as corporate workers. It's very important that as young girls and women, we choose very carefully, very sagaciously. Wisdom is very important. That's where I feel the role of mentors is important. Some you do need a mentor. All said and done, we do not live in a unilateral, in an isolated world. And women are known to be collaborative. Women are known to be integrative. We integrate a lot of things. Women are known to be compassionate, empathetic. These are the qualities that the world is striving, even men are striving. So the world is getting more feminized, according to me. And it's important to be feminized in order to find solutions, you know, because these are the qualities that are significant. And as leaders, we should choose our pathways very carefully. Because if one is selfish and looks at one's own progress, then you're doomed to be,
self-centered.
uh,
Yes,
in a very minor space for yourself. You do not grow.
Self-centered.
We need to be looking at things a little more, in a broader spectrum, so as to say. And that's where I think the success lies. Very often they say that we have the foot in the door. Foot in the door, I don't know. I think we have already crossed the threshold. Women are doing well across the world. There may be very few leaders across. If you look at the major corporate giants, they're all manned by men. Not many women are there. While I say that we have crossed the threshold, there are many areas, sectors that have still not been trusted, you know, where women are concerned. They say that women are emotional, women cannot take decisions. I think these are all trying to put women down. We need to rise above these. So, how do women define themselves? That will show the path ahead. While we have crossed the threshold and entered the male bastion, uh, we still need to progress. There's a long way ahead, long road ahead. And unless we learn to be bold, unless we learn to find new pathways, rather than trying to walk on the same path that the men have taken, the world will not change. We want an equal world, a democratized world, for all. I think it's very important that we choose our pathways. That's why I said I was thinking about Frankl. Between the stimulus and response, the space that we choose will lie our own growth trajectory. I think that's very important. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to, if at all we are looking at how do we groom Gen Alpha, how do we look at younger generation, and what do we? I think the younger generation must have a portfolio of the self. You know,
Yeah.
you need to have not to be defined by, as I said, one identity. You need to be comfortable with occupying probably hats or wearing hats that may not be too comfortable either. It's very, so you need to define your own reason for being. you know um, Someone said that women cannot have it all. I personally think that not necessary that we have all. You're putting too much pressure on women by saying you balancing between a home and children and your career pathway. Women do balance, there's no doubt about it, but there's a lot of pressure on them to be perfect, to handle home and careers at the same time. I think that pressure needs to be taken away. That's very
Yeah.
important, and that's where women need to empower themselves. Don't look at others to empower you. How do you empower yourselves? That is more important, that's more significant. um, how do you how to be resilient in times of crisis? I think that's something that only women can teach the world in the times of crisis, because women do find solutions in their own innovative ways. Innovation is not about creating something new, but
Yeah.
finding new ideas to deal with problems. I think it's very important to look at, uh, maybe we should ask the younger generation, how would they deal with a problem? ideas are ideating about issues or problems, very, very important. And uh, somewhere, you know, you might find a good idea that will work for the changing
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Like you
And if
inspire a lot of people,
is ready,
and I am
to,
also getting inspired by you. Thank you
no, but
so much because
to the position completely to myself. So
no,
I'm eager to
that's okay.
listen to. Yeah.
No, actually, your words are like enlightenment to us because being in a position, we all aspire to be someone like in a very prominent role and doing something for the society as well as for the new generation. And I belong to this generation, so I can like really connect to you and your words because those words are coming from inside, and it's very inspiring because we uh, as like very junior to all of you, we take all these lessons so that we can aspire in future, right? So thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to um, ask Rianka ma'am to share her thoughts regarding this topic. Over to you, ma'am. Now,
Just share some ideas. Don't have to, whatever you think. Can't hear.
ma'am, I think you were
I think
your
she
mic is
needs to
muted. Thank
express it.
Yeah,
Yeah, are you able to
yeah.
see the
No,
screen?
no, not yet. Now,
Yeah.
yeah. Now you can
Okay.
share. Yeah, yeah.
Fine.
Now it's busy.
All right.
Yeah,
Mine is not exactly a very elaborate one, but I have tried to, incorporate certain things that I have noticed, which you can say Indian female leaders. I'm particularly focusing on Indian female leaders, and we will be looking into what are certain strategies they have employed. So when we talk of leadership, we associate certain qualities such as being determined, headstrong, and powerful. But female leadership is entirely different. Like I think Ma'am has just told how we are able to collaborate. Now, in his book on the left hand side, we can see the book. Why do so many incompetent men become leaders? I don't want to sound sexist, but this is a book by Thomas Shamoro. He asked two very powerful questions. The first question he asked is, why is it so easy for incompetent men to become leaders? The second one is, why is it so hard for competent people, especially women, to advance in their life? And the answer, lies in the fact that there's a lack of career obstacles for incompetent men, whereas for women, the idea of balancing, the idea of resilience, the idea of maintaining, managing. So these are the things which probably pulled apart. And we can see, like qualities like confidence, hierarchy, charisma, narcissism, these are seen as leadership traits which men often outnumber when it comes to women. They do not have these things as much as men do have. Now, in his TED talk, Chamorro also stated that if leadership is assessed on the basis of competence rather than confidence, collaboration over hierarchy, humility rather than charisma, and integrity rather than narcissism, then we are going to end up not just with excellent leaders, but in fact, more women leaders because women excel in this part.
yeah.
In today's session, I'll pick up five prominent Indian female leaders who are doing exceptional in their field, and they are from all different domains. We have Amruta Patil, who's India's first graphic novelist, female graphic novelist. We have Falguni Nair, all of us know her. She is the founder of Nika. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, she is the founder of Biocon. Arunima Sinha, who's the first Indian female amputee mountaineer, and Anjali Gopalan, who is the founder of NAS Foundation. First, let me come to Amrita Patil. So she's an Indian, she's the first Indian female graphic novelist, a writer and painter. She's also the recipient of the Nari Shakti Puraskar, and she has notable works like Nari, Parva duology, that is Adi Parva, and Saptik, Arankaya. So all her works are, they are on the niche domain, and she incorporated the graphic novel system to start off something which is very very serious topic for which she, received a lot of backlash as well. So Kari is basically a queer narrative which talks about a lesbian relationship. Then we have the Parva duology. So Adi Parva is based on Mahabharata and the
Ma'am,
Puranas.
I'm very sorry for interrupting you, but I think your slides are not like moving. It stick to the first one. Are you okay with it?
No, no. Which slide are you able to see now? Is this fine?
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, now it's Amruta Patil. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 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 fine. So yeah,
I'm
I
very
was
sorry for
talking.
interrupting.
No, no problem. So yeah, I was talking about the Parva duology. So Adi Parva is based on the Mahabharata and the Puranas, and here she introduces the concept of Sutradhar, that is goddess Ganga. Then Soptic speaks of the voice of Ashwathama after the war and how he visualizes the war field. He notices the destruction of the ecology. Arankaya is a collaborative work with Devdutt Patnaik. Now,
Yeah.
as a leader, Amruta's leadership philosophy can be, uh, you know, uh, looked into these three aspects. She championed the marginalized voice, where she highlighted the perspectives of the LGBTQ individuals. She highlighted underrepresented characters of mythology. And Amrita also faced a lot of backlash, because she had touched upon certain sensitive topics, and she chose a medium such as a graphic novel to represent this. Also, these are very niche area where limited acceptance is there. Another powerful thing is that she had adopted storytelling as empowerment. So introspection and cultural reawakening through stories, where she felt that certain marginalized characters can be brought into limelight. People can introspect and look into certain areas which had been not highlighted in the past. And finally, focus on collaboration. This is a point which probably all of us need to focus as as one of the poignant leadership philosophy. So Amrita didn't worry about the fact that she has to carry herself forward and build herself as a female leader. She had collaborated with an author who is established and who's going to put her in a sort of a portal of furthermore advancing her career. So collaboration is a wonderful leadership technique for those who want to take things steady forward. Some of our area of focus is self learning, where Amrita was everything for her was self taught. So she used the challenges in her life as an advantage. So she chose a very you can say transformational leadership style. And obviously mentorship, she chose an unconventional career path where she could inspire a lot of budding artists and writers. The next leader we are going to talk about is Falguni Nair, who is from a completely different domain. That is, she is an entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of Nika, and she is often celebrated as an exceptional leader in building one of India's leading beauty and lifestyle retail platforms. Now, her leadership philosophy can be distilled in these in these key principles. We may note that in the past we did have e-commerce sites like Amazon, Flipkart, and even Snapdeal were doing excellent. But then when it came to women's beauty, and cosmetics and skincare products, somewhere this companies or e-commerce platform failed to provide the utmost happiness or satisfaction to the women. And this you can say gap was bridged by Falguni Nair, who noticed that uh, all these companies would rather, would often keep some products which are probably very cheap or duplicate, and also some of the international brands were there. And she identified what were the potential reason why the beauty industry couldn't flourish in the e-commerce. So she came up with Nika, where she did a thorough market research about Indian skin tone variation requirement, weather condition as well, and how the makeup could sustain through all those things. And then the idea of Nika came into existence, and it became an overnight hit because it could exactly cater to Indian women's need. Not only that, she also used a strategy, that is, she promoted her, you can say, beauty tutorials, expert advice by top beauticians, celebrity makeup artists who would do demonstration on how to use them, even for the common women who were not used to probably using different makeup products, got used to how this product could be used. And henceforth Nykaa became one of the leading e-commerce platform when it comes to women skincare and cosmetics, and it just gradually expanded. The next leadership technique that she used was an omni channel experience. So prior to Nika, we never had an offline e-commerce platform as well. So Nika sought this opportunity, and she created an online as well as an offline store so that people could have the experience of online in the offline store. They could check out the products. And the third thing is that it was a very niche market, and her belief in the niche market at the time when e commerce was dominated by giants like Flipkart and Amazon. And she could identify a very niche market in beauty and wellness. Of course, she had to face a lot of gender criticism that she's, being a woman, you are only centered around other women doing makeup. But then she took it to heights and she actually proved herself. Something that we need to focus about Falguni Nair is her inclusive vision. That is, she demonstrated a brand that is rooted in trust and integrity. Like I said, even today, women feel that if I have to buy a high end brand or an Indian brand or any kind of brand, Nika is probably reliable and I will not get a duplicate product. So, this is the trust and integrity that Falguni could create. Second thing is empowerment and inspiration. So Falguni is a role model for most of the late bloomers, women above 50s, because she, started her entrepreneurial journey at the age of 50. Prior to this, she was in the corporate world. She, took charge of the corporate world, and she decided to take a decision at the age of 50, which is very, very critical and crucial time. And you can say this is a very big leap that she had taken. So she's a very big inspiration for female entrepreneurs. Next, I'm going to talk about is Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw is a chairperson and founder of Biocon Limited. So, Biocon is basically a biotechnology company based in Bangalore. And Kiran Mazumdar Shaw was also the former chairperson of Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore. Now, talking about her leadership philosophy, first of all, we have to see that her visionary innovation of starting something affordable in the healthcare domain. So she envisioned using biotechnology to address healthcare challenges, which is traditionally dominated by men. And her focus had positioned Biocon as a global player in biopharmaceuticals, especially in areas like insulin and biosimilars. She is also empowering and nurturing talent by building a diverse and inclusive workforce. So she not only empowers her team with opportunities of growth and learning, she also provides them opportunities of research, of learning, of taking calculated risks. And she is finally an advocacy for women because Shaw is one of the successful female entrepreneurs who constantly champion the cause of women in leadership. She encouraged the women to pursue science, technology, and entrepreneurship by breaking the gender traditional norms. She encouraged that how women should volunteer the cause of entrepreneurship and give a chance for themselves. Things that we can focus about her is that her perseverance against odds. Certainly it's not very easy for her to enter into a domain which was traditionally ruled by men, into the biotechnology field, and then make her case over there. She faced a lot of gender bias and a lot of skepticism. Of course, people laughed at her, questioned her integrity, but then she had been pretty much strong about her decision and she could finally prove herself well. Second thing is that her vision of affordability and accessibility. So Shaw emphasized producing cost-effective medicines to address India's and the world's healthcare needs, particularly for the undeserved population, and medicine could, reach all the household at a very cheaper rate. This is Arunima Sinha, and she's the first female amputee to climb Mount Everest. And definitely, we can understand what a strong inspiration she is for resilience, determination, and the power of human spirit because nothing could stop her from, ascending uh, from becoming a mountaineer in spite of the challenge, in spite of some physical liability that she had undergone. So Arunima basically, she is a sports person, and she was about to join the uh, I think CISF. Yeah, CISF, and for which she was going to Delhi. And on the way, the train was attacked by some hooligans, some dacoits, and she was pushed off the moving train, and she fell down on the railway track, where on the other track, a train ran over her leg. So throughout the night, there were multiple trains that ran over the track, crushing her leg under, below the knees completely. And in the morning, she was taken to the hospital where it was declared that she has to be amputated if she has to survive. Now, this was the point from where she decided that she is going to change the course of her life. So, the first thing that we notice about her is that goal oriented mindset. So she had the ability to break down the monumental task into manageable steps. Of course, for an amputee to climb the Mount Everest and so many other, highest mountain ranges. So this was basically her dream after she was amputated, that she would want to scale all the, highest peaks of each continent. And to set such kind of a goal at a point when she is going through a crisis, it was a really a monumental task, and then she broke it down to manageable steps. So what we understand is that when we dream bigger, it's better that we break it down into crumbs and understand how we can reach our goal. Second thing is the self belief and positivity. So even if I quote from the shastras or from the Vedas, it's very important to believe in oneself and always be positive. So these are the two things that will take us to scaling heights, and I think this is one thing Arunima strictly believed. So she refused to succumb to any despair. Next is her focus on mental strength, which is one of the toughest thing to do, and even top leaders will break in terms of crisis at times. So this is a very big emergency where you notice that your legs are not functioning anymore. So she could hold herself up and be mentally strong enough to maintain her focus and composure even in the extreme condition. The area of focus that we can look into is she has of course broken the stereotype about physical disability and societal expectations, and this is something a very very strong mindset can do, because people will often go into depression when we see the slightest outbreak, some slightest deformity in ourselves, and imagine losing legs altogether. Second thing is turning pain into purpose. I think kudos to her for this part, that Anonymous changed her motivation, her direction altogether when she realized that her legs are not functional at all. So she she could immediately take up a decision that how is she going to find happiness in life, and how is she going to create success. So it's like a form of leadership where you derive success through any situation. The last leader whom I'm going to discuss is Anjali Gopalan. She is a founder and executive director of the NAS Foundation Trust, and she is a trailblazer in the field of LGBTQ community rights and also HIV/AIDS advocacy in India. So, Anjali Gopalan is somebody who works from the grassroots level with all this marginalized community, directly addressing their issues, spreading awareness about HIV/AIDS. Now, first thing we note about her is, her leadership is very compassion driven. She has deep empathy, compassion for the marginalized group, and it is something not very easy to do it. Probably easy to say, probably very easy to post something in a social media page that I'm a supporter of so and so community. But to go directly to these people, work for them, is something that Anjali could do. She also created safe space for this vulnerable community where these people can come and talk about themselves, talk about the disease they're suffering, where HIV/AIDS people can come and openly discuss about it. They don't have to remain closeted or remain hidden, that society will not accept them. She also challenged the norms that prevailed, where she was definitely questioned about her choice of why is she doing something which not everybody would approve of. So her work is deeply rooted in a sort of uh, breaking the barriers and sparkling dialogues in different areas. So something where she could feel that she could break the stigmas. Finally, building awareness. So her work is intensely spreading awareness everywhere. She has participated in campaigns, caregiving, and advocacy work. She's actively involved in her work, and her foundation is also spreading the message regarding her cause. The area of focus in Anjali Gopalan is her grassroots activism. So she works directly with the affected communities. She visits them, she talks to them without any inhibition, spreads the awareness that how LGBTQ community can be affected with HIV/AIDS, how it can be prevented, and she, above everything else, she is not afraid to do so about the societal taboo. She's also a role model for intersectionality because she addresses issues that lies about health, sexuality, gender, socio-economic status. So people are seeing her as an inspiration, where anyone can come and talk and become a become a sort of a leader for people. Now, if we see, all these five leaders are from different domain and they are doing exceptionally well in their area, and this just defines how leadership is so vast in terms of female, or how we can see that how different leaderships can be explored. But one thing that we notice is that there are certain common strategies all the leaders exhibit, particularly when it comes to female leaders. The first thing is have big ambition. I think it's very important for all of us women to remember, to dream big. We live in a society where women are often curtailed to have bigger ambition. Women are not allowed to take up certain streams, a certain choice of subjects, considering the fact that they would become over ambitious, they would become arrogant, they would not comply to the societal norms. So, here, all these leaders defy that by saying that have very big ambition. So, Never be afraid to dream big. Next is focus on your strengths. All of these leaders we have seen that they do not have a very smooth beginning. They do not have a very smooth sail in their life. So for them, they had focused on what they have rather than how is society going to treat me, how is society going to talk about it, or as a woman I will be having this problem, they are mocking at me. So somewhere they prove the fact that we are all having weaknesses at some point or the other, in somewhere or the other. So let us not focus on that part and look into how we can achieve the heights. The third most important quality is emotional intelligence, which definitely women outnumber, and the ability to have empathy, the ability to make decision, fostering empathy, and to take a leadership role with keeping empathy in mind. This is one of the most beautiful thing I think a female leader exhibit. Next thing is be value driven. So leadership based on ethics, principles, and purpose driven. So they focused on quality and authenticity, being very genuine, bringing out the best, and not taking recourse to something unfair. Then is resilience and adaptability, which is step out of your comfort zone. I think we all get into a comfort zone, and I often hear many women saying that, oh, I'm tired of work, I just wish to go back home and become a housewife, or I don't want to do this. See, the idea of comfort zone is something that pulls us apart, and if you get into comfort zone, you have no right to complain that this is the life I don't choose into it. Every great leader has come out of the comfort zone. Life has not been fair to everyone. Even people who are the second or third generation entrepreneurs, even for them, they have faced their own share of hardship. So all these leaders, they broke the shutters, they came on the streets, they worked hard, and they were pretty much, they were out of the comfort. And the most beautiful part of their leadership is empowering other women. I think all female leaders, they are such inspiration, and they empower other women. They inspire other women. They use their position to give the strength and courage to other women. It's only a weak person would use their arrogance, or belittle other. A true leader is somebody, who can be a trail bearer, who can show the path that other people can observe and follow. So I would like to conclude with this quote by Mira Branchio, who says that female leadership is balance of ambition and nurturing. If you in between, in the midst of this hustle culture that is going on, where people say that this is the amount of working hours you need to do, this is the amount of effort you have to put in, there's nothing called work life balance if you want success, you will barely find a female leader saying this. I think recently we had the founder of Sugar, who had clearly stated that when you are an employee, you cannot make such statement that I would just work for 18 hours a day or so and so. So work life balance is something women have maintained, women are able to do it, and they have done it. And all the leaders who are in this position, they could balance ambition and nurturing. This is something probably missing in male leadership. So I would like to conclude my you know speech on this one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I just got disconnected. I'm very sorry. So now, thank you so much, ma'am, for your very, very insightful thoughts. And the PPT was awesome. Actually, it's very wonderful because we get to experience a lot of outstanding women and their life trajectories and how they have aspired in their life. And like, it's very inspiring because being a amputated woman, like me personally, I love, like, I wish to go trekking, but like my parents are like, no, you can't go because you are very young and stuff. They add to resist me, like stop me from going. But being like physically so something we all like tell that no, she is physically defected or something, but it's like she has proved herself. Like physical deformity is nothing that can like prevent us. So like we have our another panelist, Mittali ma'am. Very welcome, ma'am, and a very happy New Year. So I'm
Ankita,
very sorry.
may I just come in for a minute? I'm heading for another meeting. So can I just exit and you guys can carry on?
Okay,
Yeah?
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you,
very
everyone.
okay. Thank you. I'm very sorry, ma'am, that I make you wait because like I was so engrossed in ma'am's introduction and discussion. Like I was completely lost. I'm very sorry. Actually, I couldn't follow all the emails.
No
Actually,
worries.
so I'm very
No,
sorry.
I'm
Uh,
sorry I'm late.
okay, okay, ma'am. It's okay. I can understand you are very busy, but you have given us that time from your busy schedule. I'm very thankful to that. So just we should first introduce her. Okay, so our another like panelist for this session is Dr. Mittali Sethi. Dr. Mittali Sethi is an IS officer of the 2017 batch, currently serving as a district collector of Nandubar district in Maharashtra. Mittali is also a joyful mother to a sweet set of twins. She has previously served on field positions at Melghat, Chandrapur, and and as the director of Vanamati Institute of Nagpur in Nagpur. Her areas of interest work prominently includes working on migration and nutrition in tribal and rural communities and using convergence to build better governance structures in field. We are delighted to have you on the panel, ma'am. Very, very welcome, and thank you for joining. I just want you to share your thoughts regarding this panel. Uh, Over to you, ma'am. Now,
Thank you. So I'm not sure what am I supposed to speak. So I mean, I think since your senatorial is about female leaders in administrative roles, so I've been a district collector around 3.5 months now, and I think I am that one person who'd say that she has a very difficult time balancing work and home. So at work I'm always thinking of my kids, and with my kids I'm always thinking about work. So I should probably just admit that it's tough because I think being an officer, you sort of, I think my family also extends to 17 lakh people and probably 5 lakh kids. I don't think that, my children are only the twins that I have. I always feel that there's so much to do, there's so much to think about, there's so much to work. I'm also the district collector in an aspirational district. So a lot of work, but there are a few things that, if I have to say something, I would definitely say that, with female leadership, it's special. I mean, when you go to the field and you meet female sarpanches, when you meet female leaders at the block level, at the district level, it's very, very inspiring to see them do good work. But what I've realized is that, we cannot have this conversation of gender equality in a prism that does not involve men. Until and unless we don't pull men into this ecosystem, we are not really going to have this conversation. And the only reason I feel like I can go to my office every day and work up till this late is because my husband takes care of the kids. And I think it has to start from a very, very primary level. It has to start with school boys talking to school girls about what should they do when women have periods, who makes food at home, who does the utensils. And so I think when I go to schools, for example, a question that I generally ask school boys very often is that how many of you've ever touched a sanitary napkin? And I mean, I remember when I was small, I would take this black color polythene and then put my napkin into it and then
yeah,
go from here and then throw it in the dustbin. And my brother was not allowed, or my father was not supposed to see what I was doing. My mother would say that, oh my God, now they've gone to the office, now you chup chup go and throw it. And now I've come to that point where, I have two boys of my own. And I feel like this is my responsibility now to raise them in a world that no probably talks about only female leadership. It's a place, it's an office where we go and then we just do work. It's not, a woman and a man sitting on a chair. It's a chair and anybody can sit on it. Even today, there are days. So just yesterday, I was sitting in a meeting and I suddenly told everybody that if you look around, I'm the only woman sitting here. I had around 60 people in my meeting, and suddenly everybody just looks around and there was no female. There was only I was sitting there. I was chairing the meeting, but other than that, I had no block official who was a woman. And this is not happening because women cannot do leadership or don't have the administrative acumen for it, or do not know how to multitask or balance work and home. I don't think anybody can balance work and home, for that matter. I mean, if you are somebody who really wants to do something, with kids, there's so much to do. You have to sit with them, you have to
Yeah.
understand how they grow. There's so much education, there's so much learning. So probably, I don't think being a woman who is just a housewife is also, it's an unpaid profession, but it's a profession. I mean, people who are sitting at home are also sort of mothers who are raising children, are doing a lot of things. I mean, if we start paying them, we should pay them quite a lot. So that is a full-time job. I think the reason is that we've allotted certain tasks to women. So the child has to be raised by a woman. The food has to be prepared by the woman. The utensils is something that needs to be done by a woman. The overall coordination of the house is something that needs to be done by a woman. And I think it's rapidly changing now. When I see next gen men, when I see urban societies, or when I see people in my circle talking about raising kids, I now keep seeing women where, the men are like, step out of the house and I will take care of this for you. It's very, very incremental, but it's happening.
Yeah.
There's so much more that we should be doing. Like, one of the areas that I think, so we monitor a lot of gram panchayats. So I have around 900 gram panchayats in the district, and since we have an act that gives 33% reservation to women, we have around 300 female sarpanches. Now,
Yeah.
probably 10 years back, you would have heard the term Sarpanch Pati that was used very often. People would tell you that we've elected a female Sarpanch, but then the husband comes and sits in the meetings and then says that, this is how things are
Yeah.
supposed to be done, because my wife does not understand how, governance works. So now probably that number is still there. I still meet Sarpanch Patis. I still meet husbands who would overtake or hijack a lot of But the way we are bridging all of this gender imbalance is to start very early. So in our district, for example, when we talk about something like this, we always say that the school is the place where we start. And we have something called Ashram Shala, which is a residential tribal school. So we start from there. We say that, okay, education is one part of this entire journey, but health is another. So if you look at women, for example, you find a lot of anemia. A lot of anemia in my district. Sickle cell is endemic, and so a lot of women that you meet would probably have a hemoglobin that's 8 or 7 or 6, and the men also have the same issues, but for women it gets compounded when they become mothers or they marry. And then and here, like in my district, there's a lot of child marriage that happens below 18. In a lot of rural and tribal communities, you'd find a lot of unwed mothers. In fact, last week I met this 17-year-old sickle cell positive girl who had just aborted a child and was in the ICU. So the pillars on which we are looking at gender starts very, very early, at least from adolescence. We cannot be talking about these things in our we should be talking about all these things in 30s and 40s and 50s also. But if we are really looking at the next 20 to 25 to 30 years of planning, it is something that has to start from here, so that these girls, when they become mothers and birth whether either boys or girls, they know that, what are you going to tell your girls and what are you going to tell your
Yeah.
boys. For me, I think I'll just finish with talking a little bit about the kind of work that we do. And um, so a lot of work that we do revolves around data, and I think that has helped us understand a lot of perspectives that revolve around gender. So, one of the projects that we are now taking under the sickle cell anemia, under the health mission, in general, if you look at sickle cell testing, it's a two-step process. So somebody would do one test, would tell you whether you are normal or diseased, and then it goes to another level to get tested, and that comes back after 15 days. And we are now doing a project where we might be able to test the entire population of this district, which is around 18 lakh people, in just 2 years. And that's something that might happen for the first time. But having said that, I mean, this is work that really demands a lot of me. I feel like I'm working around 16 hours a day. Even when I'm at home, I'm on my phone. Even when I'm working, even if I'm sleeping in the middle of the night, if I get up, something comes back to me that, oh my God, this is something that needed to be done. So, I feel like it's a community, it's a village. I mean, my kids, for example, just today, they sleep quite early. I mean, my kids sleep at like 7, and I come back home at 8:30,
Yeah.
8:40. So then I've made office a place where my kids can come, and it's normal for everybody to bring their kids to the office. So one of the initiatives
Yeah.
that I've always taken wherever I've been on the office is that there should be a good bathroom. There should be a good breastfeeding room if a woman wants to breastfeed her child. There should be a place where women can go to, women can just sit, change clothes, whatever they want. And it's called, in Marathi, it's called the Hirkani Kapsh. It's a breastfeeding and lactation room that every
Okay.
office is supposed to have it. There's an act for it. Um, so that really helps, because the reason I've asked a lot of women that, why do you take leave? And they would tell you, we take leave
Yeah.
because the caretaker is on leave today, and so who's going to look at the child? And sometimes I tell them, fine, bring the child here, let the child play in the office, and then you do your work. So, establishing spaces where women can feel it's normal being pregnant, breastfeeding a child, or just having the child, and normalizing public spaces with children, I think is extremely important. In a lot of planes, when we go, we always complain that, kid is crying, why have people got their kids, and why is it so noisy? It's something that I
Yeah.
keep seeing every day. And I think as all of us, I feel like it's abnormal for kids to be in certain spaces. So if we are training, for example, now a lot of my Anganwadi supervisors who are all women, wonderful women. So if we are sitting in a meeting which has like 50, 60 women, and I'm taking that meeting, three of them would be sitting with the child in their lap, and they would say that, fine, there's a room they can send their child to, they have a bathroom that they can access to. And then, so at least this puts them in some ease and gives them some mental space to focus on the kind of work that they're doing. So our attempt, and I think our focus is that, we make working for women extremely comfortable. And then for the people in my district, for the women in my district, the next 2 years target is that all adolescent girls in schools get screened for anemia at very, very regular intervals, and we ensure that by the time they either get married or become mothers, they get the proper medical care that they give. And then we do a lot of IEC in local languages in the school, in all the tribal languages that they are a part of. So these are a few initiatives, and I, since this is a gender session, I shouldn't be talking about a lot of administration. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about how I am balancing my own work life balance. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
That's very inspiring, ma'am. So now we will move on to the question answer session. So my question for Rianka ma'am is, as a gold medalist and an academic, how do you uh, like, mentor and empower young women in academia to pursue leadership roles? And also, what challenges do you see for women in academia today, and how can they be overcome?
See, the first thing that I talk to all my students, since I teach in Mount Carmel College, which was an all girls institution until this academic session, when we have moved on to become a co-ed because we are becoming a university. So until then, I was addressing largely to the girls. And the most important thing that I tell all young girls, and everyone I will tell, to this generation, is that you know learn to make a change without the question being put into your gender. When you know that there are certain stereotypes that you are facing, that shouldn't prevent you or push you, and rather not focus into them, right? Focus into something that you are capable of, focus into your strengths, focus into the privileges that you have, the background you have. If you are in a tier 1 city, if you come from an educated background, if you are intelligent, rather focus on that and how you can make big out of it. Challenges everyone faces, and somewhere or the other, we are all at some position we become a minority, at some position we become a marginalized. So whether you're a man or a woman, this shouldn't be preventing you. So never take your gender as something that is stopping you or preventing you. And in terms of building leadership, I think it's very important that young girls are taught to be very confident about what they have, receive encouragement and receive positivity. So these are certain things I ensure that everyone has got, receive a chance to come and speak in the dais or in the podium, address everyone, talk about things, and don't go by the woke culture. I think modern day people consider that the woke culture is something every woman is striving to, they just want to go against the general norms. It's not so. We have to understand that the idea of women empowerment or feminism is very different from simply ranting around. We are fighting for a greater cause, and that can be brought about when you become an example. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, this is the thing. Like Sunana ma'am also mentioned that the space that we all need, and we all should help each other to create that space for ourselves to aspire. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, my question to Mitali ma'am, like your work focuses on addressing migration and nutrition challenges in tribal and rural communities. How your leadership strategies empower these communities, and what role do you see women leaders playing in creating sustainable solutions for marginalized populations?
So I was actually posted in a very remote tribal area. That was my first posting, and we were looking at the temporal malnutrition data. And while looking at that data, we suddenly realized that a lot of tribal communities actually migrate to the nearest factories and all of that. And so when they come back, there's a sudden rise in a lot of malnourished children because they are not receiving vaccines and they're not receiving the health care that they were receiving in their house. So let's say somebody is staying in Nandurbar, where I'm the district collector, and I moved to Kolkata for some work. And in Nandurbar, I was getting a lot of schemes. Somebody was coming and asking me, "How are you? How is your child?" And you have an entire maternal card with you. But when I go to Kolkata, no, nobody knows me. I don't know where's the hospital. I don't know where's the Anganwadi. And so the bargain of power also dictates that those who migrate are the most vulnerable and the most poor already. So a lot of people, when they go to all these new places, do not know the language also. So they speak something called Pauri, and when they go to all these places, they speak in Marathi. So all they know is that there's a person who's employed them, but they don't. I mean, children don't get vaccinations, and they migrate for at least around 4 to 5 months, which is quite a lot. It's almost like a bonded labor. They get money from a sugarcane contractor, and then they have to go work there, and then they pay them cash, and that's how they sort of repay the money that they've taken. So while looking at all these, we designed something called the Maharashtra Migration Tracking System, which was the first state, any software that was done by any state to give portability in nutrition benefits. And my entire team that did this were women. All of my Anganwadi supervisors
Wow.
who would meet the children, who would go and do all this work. And this was work that was done from early morning to late night. There was a lot of field work involved. There was a lot of hard work that went, a lot of dedication that went into this. And this entire team got a special recognition from the state women and child development department. And we also, the migration tracking system that we did also won the Innovation in Public Administration Award last year. And this is work that we continue to do. I mean, all of my women leaders in Nandurbar now, we are doing a migration tracking system too now, and it's work that continues to happen.
Thank you. And I think it inspires more. Like uh, the term called migration. Actually, I was in another, like, I am from West Bengal, but I was in another city, and when I moved to the like complete different city, I faced the same problem actually, that identity crisis and all the things related to it. So I think, yeah, I can relate to that. And thank you so much, ma'am. So this brings us to the end of the today's session. I thank all my panelists once again for sharing invaluable perspectives on the topic. This is to remind that we are calling for submissions of working women in history, the details of which can be viewed on www.tellmeyourstory.in. We will come back to you soon with our next panel discussion on the project. Till then, goodbye, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye, ma'am. Thank you.